At their 10th anniversary party, surrounded by champagne toasts and forced smiles, Marcus spat on his wife, calling her a barren failure in front of his entire family. Unaware the woman he just humiliated owned St. Catherine's Medical Center, the very hospital keeping his dying mother alive. To him, she was just dead weight, a childless burden he'd outgrown. But to the doctors watching, especially those who knew her secret, she was the hand that held every IV drip, every ventilator, every lifeline. Grace hiding lightning. So why did she wipe the spit from her face without saying a word? And what did she do next that made her arrogant husband and his entire family beg for mercy at her feet? The crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the ballroom. As Marcus raised his glass, his new girlfriend, Sienna, draped over his arm like expensive jewelry. Young, fertile, everything Claire wasn't. Claire sat quietly at a corner table, her simple navy dress a stark contrast to the glittering gowns around her. Her hands rested in her lap, fingers intertwined, her eyes reflecting the candlelight, not from tears, but from something deeper. Calculation. 10 years of marriage? Marcus announced loudly, his voice carrying across the room. And what do I have to show for it? An empty nursery and an empty life. Laughter erupted. His brother clinked glasses with his father. His mother dabbed her eyes dramatically from her wheelchair, recently discharged from St. Catherine's for a brief evening out despite her stage 4 cancer. Sienna leaned into the microphone, her voice dripping with mock sympathy. Maybe if you could actually give him a child, Marcus wouldn't need to find a real woman. The room fell silent for a heartbeat, then exploded with cruel amusement. Claire's voice cut through the noise, soft but steady. Careful what you call real, Sienna. Some things are more fragile than they appear. Marcus slammed his glass down, champagne sloshing over the rim. Fragile? You've been draining my family's resources for a decade, Claire. Hospital bills, treatments, specialists, all because you couldn't do the one thing women are made to do. And that's when it happened. He crossed the space between them, leaned down, and spat directly on her face. The saliva dripped down her cheek as he whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. You disgust me. The ballroom froze. Even the string quartet stopped playing. Claire didn't move, didn't cry. She simply reached for her napkin, wiped her face clean, and looked at him with eyes that seemed to memorize every line of disgust on his face. In that moment, her stillness was more terrifying than screaming. Her gaze dropped to the medical alert bracelet on her wrist, the one she'd worn since the hysterectomy. The same surgery she'd undergone to save her life from cervical cancer, while Marcus was on a business trip with his secretary. He had forgotten those nights in the hospital when she woke up, alone, when the nurses held her hand because he couldn't be bothered to show up, forgotten how she'd used her inheritance to pay for his mother's experimental treatments when insurance refused coverage. Back then, he'd called her his angel. Now she was his curse. Excuse me, Claire said quietly, standing with the grace of someone who'd practiced leaving rooms full of people who underestimated her. I think I've celebrated enough. As she walked toward the exit, Sienna's voice followed her. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, sweetheart. Oh, wait, you probably couldn't feel it anyway, could you? The room erupted in laughter again. But once outside, under the cool night air scented with jasmine, Claire's composure cracked just slightly. Her hands trembled as she pulled out her phone. The pain wasn't from the humiliation she was long past being hurt by Marcus's words. It was from the bitter irony that the people mocking her had no idea whose signature appeared on his. Mother's treatment authorization forms. St. Catherine's Medical Center. Her hospital. Her late father's legacy. The same hospital where Marcus's mother, Eleanor, had been receiving over $200,000 in monthly treatments for the past 2 years. The same hospital Marcus had begged her to pull strings at to get his mother into the experimental trial program. Her lips curved into a faint smile. You really don't know, do you, Marcus? She whispered. That night, when she arrived home to her penthouse overlooking the city, she stood before the massive portrait of her late father in his white coat, his kind eyes seeming to meet hers with understanding. I kept your promise, Dad, she murmured. I married for love, But love turned into tolerance, and tolerance turned into poison. A flashback seared through her mind the day of her diagnosis. The doctor's somber voice, Marcus's immediate distance. She'd woken from surgery to find divorce papers on her nightstand with a sticky note. You need a real future. He'd never filed them. Instead, he'd stayed not out of love, but because his mother's illness had bankrupted his family, and only Claire had the connections to keep her alive. She'd thought that was rock bottom until she saw the anniversary party invitation 2 months ago. Celebrating a decade and new beginnings. The world saw a humiliated wife. But Claire knew better. This was a test of patience, and hers had just expired. She called someone she hadn't spoken to in months. Dr. Harrison Cole, Chief Medical Officer of Street, Catherine's and her father's oldest friend. Claire, his voice carried surprise. It's late. I'm ready, Harrison, she said quietly. It's time we reviewed the ethics board policies at Street Catherine's. Are you sure? He asked carefully. Once we start this protocol, there are procedures, reviews. I don't want to hurt her, Claire interrupted. But I want him to understand who holds her life in their hands. Thunder rolled outside her floor-to-ceiling windows, and her reflection in the glass seemed almost unfamiliar. Poised, patient, powerful. For the first time since her surgery, Claire didn't feel broken. She felt dangerous. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the tall windows of Claire's private office at Street Catherine's Medical Center. The modern space overlooked the city. With awards and commendations lining the walls, most people didn't know the reclusive hospital owner's identity. She preferred it that way. Claire pressed the intercom. Dr. Cole, please come in. Moments later, Harrison entered, his silver hair and steady demeanor carrying decades of medical ethics and loyalty to the Whitmore family. Claire, he said gently, I've reviewed Eleanor Parker's file as you requested. Her treatment plan is aggressive but necessary. The experimental drugs are showing promise. Claire's fingers traced the edge of the file. And if we were to pause the treatment, Harrison's eyes widened. She'd have weeks, maybe days. Claire, I know what Marcus did to you, but Eleanor is innocent, Claire finished softly. I know. I'm not a monster, Harrison, but Marcus needs to understand something. Her voice hardened. He spat on me because he thinks I'm powerless. He thinks his connections, his charm, his male privilege gives him control. She looked up, eyes sharp. I want him to know who really decides whether his mother lives or dies. Harrison exhaled slowly. What are you proposing? A meeting. Tomorrow. Tell Marcus there's been a complication with Eleanor's insurance authorization. Tell him the hospital owner needs to meet with him personally to discuss continued coverage. He'll panic. Good. As Harrison left to make the arrangements, Claire rolled her chair to the window. Below, ambulances came and went, lives being saved and lost on her watch. Her father had built this hospital on compassion. But sometimes, she thought, compassion meant teaching cruel people the weight of their words. Her phone buzzed. A message from Marcus's mother's nurse. Mrs. Parker is asking for you. She says you're the only one who visits anymore. Claire's chest tightened. Eleanor didn't know about the party, didn't know about the divorce papers, didn't know her son had publicly destroyed the woman who'd kept her alive. She texted back, I'll be there this afternoon. Later that day, she sat beside Eleanor's hospital bed. The older woman looked frail, skin paper thin, but her smile was warm. Claire, darling, Eleanor whispered. You're too good to me. Marcus told me you two are celebrating your anniversary. I'm so proud of the life you've built together. Claire's throat tightened. Mrs. Parker, call me Mom, Eleanor insisted, squeezing her hand weakly. You've been more of a daughter to me than anyone, staying by my side through all this. Tears filled her eyes. I know I'm a burden. You're not a burden, Claire said firmly, meaning, got it. Your family. I just wish, Eleanor's voice faded. I wish I could see you and Marcus have children. Claire looked away. Some things aren't meant to be. As she left Eleanor's room, a nurse approached her quietly. Dr. Whitmore, there's been a situation. Mr. Parker tried to access his mother's treatment plan files and was denied. He's demanding to speak with administration. Claire's expression remained neutral. Tell him he'll get his meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp, in my office. The nurse's eyes widened slightly. She was one of the few who knew Claire's identity. Should I warn him who he'll be meeting with? No, Claire said softly. Let it be a surprise. The next morning, Marcus stormed into street, Catherine's lobby with Sienna trailing behind him, her designer heels clicking on the marble floor. This is ridiculous, he muttered to her. Some bureaucrat wanting to discuss Mom's treatment? I'll sue this entire hospital if they try to cut her off. Baby, calm down, Sienna purred. You'll charm whoever it is. You always do. They were escorted to the top floor executive level. Marcus had never been up here before. The receptionist, professional and cold, gestured to the double doors. Miss Whitmore will see you now. Miss Whitmore? Marcus frowned. I thought the owner was some reclusive old man. The doors opened. Claire sat behind a wide mahogany desk, medical journals stacked neatly, her father's portrait hanging behind her. She wore a crisp white blazer, her hair pulled back, every inch the powerful executive. Marcus froze mid-step. His mouth fell open. Claire? Sienna blinked rapidly. Wait, you work here? Claire's calm smile never wavered. Good morning, Marcus. Sienna. Please, sit. Marcus's confusion melted into irritation. What the hell is this? I'm supposed to meet with the hospital owner. You are, Claire said evenly. I am Dr. Clare Whitmore, majority owner and CEO of Street Catherine's Medical Center. You're in my hospital. Silence crashed between them like broken glass. Sienna's face drained of color. You own this hospital? Inherited it from my father, Dr. Robert Whitmore, Claire explained calmly. He founded it 40 years ago. I've been running it for the past 8 years, since his death. Marcus's jaw clenched. That's impossible. You're just what? Claire interrupted softly. Just your barren wife? Just the woman you humiliated? Just the failure you spat on? His face reddened. This is insane. Claire folded her hands. You came here with concerns about your mother's treatment authorization. I understand there's been a complication. Yes, Marcus said, trying to regain composure. The billing department says there's an issue with her experimental drug coverage, but I have connections. You have me, Claire said flatly. Your connection is sitting right here. Every treatment your mother receives, every specialist consultation, every medication, it all requires my signature. She slid a file across the desk. This is Eleanor's complete medical file. $2.3 million in treatments over 2 years. All approved by me personally. Sienna stood, trembling. Claire, please, this isn't fair. Claire finished coldly. You're right. What's not fair is publicly mocking someone who's keeping your boyfriend's mother alive. Her eyes shifted to Marcus. You spat on me at our anniversary party, in front of everyone, because you thought I was powerless. Marcus leaned forward, voice shaking with fury. So what? You're going to kill my mother to get revenge? The question hung in the air like poison. Claire's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind her eyes. Pain, humanity, conflict. No, she said quietly. I'm not going to kill anyone, but I am going to make sure you understand something. She stood, moving around the desk with measured steps. Your mother is alive because of my compassion. Because when you begged me to get her into the experimental program, I used my position, the position you knew nothing about, to save her life. Then why? Marcus started. Because you need to know, Claire interrupted, her voice rising slightly, that every breath your mother takes, every day she has left, every moment of comfort, she experiences it exists because of the woman you called worthless. Tears streamed down Marcus's face now. Please, Claire, I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Will you? She asked. Will you apologize in front of everyone the way you humiliated me? Will you admit that you only stayed married to me because I was useful? Will you tell Sienna here that you're still legally my husband because you never filed those divorce papers you left on my hospital nightstand? Sienna gasped. What? Marcus closed his eyes. Claire. Your mother's treatment continues, Claire said firmly. I will not punish an innocent woman for her son's cruelty. But you, she stepped closer. You will sign the divorce papers. You will publicly apologize at the hospital's annual charity gala next month. And you will never ever speak my name again unless it's with the respect I earned. Security appeared at her silent gesture. Escort them out, she said quietly. As Marcus was led away, he turned one last time, voice breaking. I did love you once. Claire's voice followed him like a ghost. I know. That's what made it hurt. When the door closed, she exhaled slowly, her hands shaking. Not from weakness, but from the weight of holding someone's life in your hands and choosing mercy over vengeance. Doctor. Cole entered moments later. Eleanor's next treatment is scheduled for tomorrow. Should I proceed? Claire looked at her father's portrait. Yes, and make sure she has the best care we can provide. Even after everything? Especially after everything, Claire said softly. Revenge doesn't heal, compassion does. 3 months later, the hospital's charity gala was packed with the city's elite, donors, and medical professionals. Claire stood at the podium in an elegant emerald gown, her voice steady as she spoke about the new cancer research wing being dedicated to her father's memory. As she finished, the crowd applauded. Then from the back of the room, Marcus stood. The room fell silent. He walked to the front, no Sienna by his side, no arrogance in his step. He looked older, humbled. I'd like to say something, he said hoarsely. Claire tensed but nodded. Marcus turned to face the crowd. 3 months ago, I made the worst mistake of my life. I humiliated my wife, my ex-wife in public. I spat on her. I called her worthless. His voice cracked. The truth is, she saved my mother's life. She saved my life, many times, in ways I was too blind to see. He looked at Claire. I'm sorry. I can never undo what I did. But I want everyone here to know that Dr. Clare Whitmore is the most compassionate, powerful, and graceful person I've ever known. The room erupted in applause. Claire's eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. She simply nodded once, accepting the apology she no longer needed. That night, as she stood on her balcony overlooking the city lights, Dr. Cole joined her with 2 glasses of wine. You did good, he said gently. Your father would be proud. Would he? She asked. I almost let anger control me. But you didn't, Harrison reminded her. You chose compassion. That's the difference between revenge and justice. Claire smiled faintly. Eleanor's prognosis has improved. The experimental treatment is working. Thanks to you. She looked out at the skyline, at the hospital glowing in the distance. Marcus taught me something valuable, Harrison. He taught me that even broken people can be powerful, that even when someone spits on you, she paused, her voice soft but certain, you can choose to rise above it. The wind carried the scent of rain, fresh and cleansing, and for the first time in a decade, Claire felt free, not because she'd destroyed her enemy, but because she discovered something far more powerful than revenge, the strength to show mercy when you have every reason not to. 5 years later, Catherine's medical center had expanded into 3 additional locations, each bearing the Whitmore name. Claire's foundation for women's cancer research had become internationally recognized. Eleanor Parker had beaten the odds 5 years in remission, thanks to the treatment Claire had ensured she received. She visited Claire often, the 2 women having formed a bond deeper than the marriage that had dissolved. You saved my life, Eleanor said one afternoon over tea, and you saved my soul by forgiving my son. I didn't do it for him, Claire admitted. I did it for me. Anger was eating me alive. And Marcus? Eleanor asked carefully. Claire smiled. I heard he's working as a volunteer at a cancer support center. Apparently, he's dedicated his life to helping families navigate what he put us through. Do you still hate him? Claire considered this. No. I pity who he was. but I respect who he's trying to become. As the sun set over the city, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple, Claire stood in the hospital's memorial garden, a space she'd created for patients and families to find peace. Engraved on a stone bench were her father's words, "Compassion is not weakness, it is the greatest strength." And as she sat there watching the world move forward, she realized that vengeance would have left her empty, but mercy had set her free.